Hi, everybody. At Back to School Night, I always like to collect some information from parents, including things like their phone numbers and email. And at the beginning, I would always put out a piece of paper, and parents would come in and sign their names and put in their email address, and then I would have to decipher them. So, this is a solution around that. This is called a Google form, and you can collect information from the parents that is then dumped into a spreadsheet that looks like this. And so here you can see that all the information comes there, and then you don't have to worry about deciphering their handwriting. So how you would do that is you would go to your USD Google Apps for Education, and you would go to Create Form. And the first thing I'm going to do with my form is I'm going to title it. And I'm going to title it Parent Contact. Of course, you can title it whatever you like. And then I am going to uncheck Require USD Sign In, Log In, because those parents do not have, are not logged into the USD service. And so should you decide that you need to send this out to some parents and ask them to sign in because they didn't show up, then you don't want them to be stymied by not being able to sign in because you've checked that box. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask for is the student's first name. And I like to ask for the students' first names and last names separately because then I can sort my spreadsheet either by first name or last name. And you'll see here that we have choices. So this is not a multiple choice question, this is a text question. And the difference between a text question and a paragraph question is the length of the answer. So this is just a text answer, and I am going to make this a required question. And this means that the parent will not be able to submit the form unless this is filled in. I'm not going to click Done because Done means I am finished with the entire form. Instead, I'm going to go to Add an Item. And my next item might be student last name. And again, I'm not going to hit Done. I'm going to say Add an Item. And so here, you can add as many items as you like. But what I want to do is I want to go back and tell you, instead of going through all of the text items, I want to skip on to a different item. So this will be maybe mother's email address. And here again, it's a text answer, but here I'm going to ask for advanced settings. In advanced settings, I'm going to ask for data validation, and I'm going to say that I'm asking for a text answer, but I want to make sure that that text answer contains an email address. This way, if the parent makes a mistake and enters something that is not recognized as an email address, again, they won't be able to submit it. I'm not going to make that a required question because not everybody might have an email address or want to share it with you. I'm going to add one more item for our screencast here, and that is I want to show you how multiple choice and checkboxes work. So maybe what can you help with? Which of these activities can you help with? And this, I'm not going to make a multiple choice because multiple choice means I can only choose one, A, B, C, D, etc. Check boxes means I can check as many options as I would like. And I could even put in a little help text that says, feel free to check multiple boxes. Right, so there's a little help text there. And you can tell I'm not the best typist here. Okay, so maybe my first option is math, Wednesday, 9 o'clock to 9:30, and maybe it's reading Thursday. Oops. Okay. So now I'm going to say, oh, those are all the questions that I want to ask, and I'm going to say done. And I now realize that I have a couple of things that I've made mistakes on. So for instance, here I didn't make the student's last name mandatory. So here, when I hover over here, you'll see that this is edit, this is duplicate. I can make that question twice. And this is delete this question. I no longer think that it's relevant. So here I'm going to edit the student's last name, and I'm going to make that a required question. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to edit which things can you help with, because I now realize that I really also want them to help with PE on Friday from 2 o'clock to 2:30. And now I'm going to click done again, and this time I'm pretty happy with it. So before I move on, I want to edit my confirmation page because I think your response has been recorded. It's just not friendly enough. So I might say thank you instead. And I always include, show a link to submit another response just in case I don't have enough computers for everybody to have their own, which some of you now do. I would have just a couple of computers set up around the classroom, and then when they submit, the link for them to click on brings them back to this form. And before I'm finished here, I want to change my theme. So the theme will just make it look a little bit nicer. And there aren't a lot of theme choices, but remember this is a free program. So I'm going to pick Bluebirds this year, and I'm going to say okay. And it doesn't show here, but where it will show is on your View Live Form. And I go to View Live Form, and there it is. And it looks pretty nice. So for you to load this onto a number of different computers can be a little tricky when you have a URL that is that long. So what I'm going to have you do here is you're going to highlight it. And you can highlight it by clicking and dragging, or by Command A, which will choose everything. And then you could either copy it by using the normal way of edit, copy, or do you see this? This is your Command C, and Command C will copy everything that is highlighted. So right now I'm going to say Command C, and then I'm going to open up a new tab, and it's going to be called goo.gl, and you'll see that it's the Google URL shortener. And I'm going to click on that. And here I'm going to click in the box, and I'm going to say this time Command V. And Command V will paste anything that I have copied. And I'm going to say shorten URL. And it's going to give me this URL, which is a lot easier to go around and enter into computers. And this shows me that this URL will go to this page. So I know that I've done it, that it's going to give me the correct URL if I do that. The other thing I like is to say details. And I can go to details, and details is going to show me a QR code, and the QR code will automatically be made. You can copy and paste it, make it bigger, and then the parents can use their smartphones, and when they scan that QR code, that smartphone will take them directly to that page that we just looked at, and they could even answer this from their smartphones. So you're probably wondering, where does your information go? So your information then goes to View Responses. And when I click on View Responses, it takes me to the spreadsheet that will then collect all of my information. Now this might be a little bit small, and so the way that you'll be able to view that is, do you see how when I hover over in between the two cells, it makes a little blue line and an arrow? I click and drag it to as long as I need it to be. All right, thank you very much. Hope this is helpful.